Wanderers Remnant 2: The Dark Horizon reintroduces players to the alien world of N'Erud, while simultaneously injecting dozens of new secrets and items into the game world. We've tracked them down, cataloged them, and today, Legacy Gaming is sharing every secret of Dark Horizon with you. We're going to take this adventure one map at a time, bringing you through each new location within the Dark Horizon and helping you find every item that the Gunfire team so masterfully hid away. This guide is written from the perspective of a player that still has their Dark Horizon one-shot. That means every new map and injectable is present. If you're past that point, it'll require you to re-roll your campaign or adventure mode to complete every secret. Starting the Dark Horizon storyline means entering the Agronomy Sector, the first overworld. There are a number of secrets that are self-contained within this zone, but more than a handful stretch across both Agronomy Sector and the Withered Necropolis, and for the sake of clarity, we'll keep this section short and go more in-depth once we reach the second overworld. The first secret isn't really a secret, but it needs to be said. The first thing you need to do in this storyline is talk to the Gardener. It seems obvious, but if you're relatively new or a more casual player, you might not think to do this first. Talking to him will award you the DH Transit Glyph, which will give you access to the various drones found scattered throughout the world that will act as gliders. Also in the Agronomy Sector is a new melee weapon, the Harvester's Sight. First, you'll want to reach the anterior recessed world stone. From here, head back outside and hang a left, killing the enemies in your way. Make your way through the alien cornfield and reach the glider. Jump on and then start descending while banking to the right. We're heading for this opening low to that purple sludge, so don't drop too much or you won't make it. Head underneath and then follow the wind plume. You'll eventually shoot up to a small landing where you'll have to fight the Astral Harvester aberration. This is an enhanced version of the Cropwalker robots you fought while exploring the overworld. When defeated, the aberration drops the Detonator Mutator. When slotted into a ranged weapon, each 10% of the weapon's magazine spent causes an explosion for 5 explosive damage to targets in a 0.5 meter radius around the impact. At level 10, this weapon's explosive damage is also increased by 20%. Kill the aberration and then head through this area until you reach a small chamber. There you can pick up the Harvester's Sight. This weapon has 65 base damage, a 12% crit hit chance, a plus 100% weak spot damage, and negative 33.4% stagger modifier. The weapon also has the baked-in mod Phantom Blade. When using a charged melee attack, a ghost copy of the blade will spin out, dealing 35% of the initial damage as a copy. Each hit of the Phantom Blade increases melee attack speed and melee charge speed by 6%, stacking up to 5 times. The second overworld, the Withered Necropolis, is jam-packed with secrets. Once you defeat the final boss of the storyline, Alepsis-Taura, make sure you return to the Gardener. This will complete his questline, and after exhausting his dialogue, he'll disappear, leaving behind the Custodian Bastion's ring. This increases armor by 1 per 2% of active shield, with a max 100% armor bonus. Shortly after the Gardener's position is a glider. If you take this and start heading down, you can land on the first platform to the right. Don't drop too quickly or you'll miss this location. There you'll find a few enemies, as well as a dead Drazier that's still holding onto the relay device amulet. When equipped, swapping firearms increases range damage by 20% for 1.5 seconds, plus an additional 0.5 seconds for each round in the magazine, maxing out at 15 seconds. Another easy item to acquire is the Security Half-Measure Ring. This can be found by taking the glider that overlooks the broken bridge. Starting from the initial world stone, just hug the left path until you reach the ledge, and you should find the glider spawn point. Glide past the bridge and past the area where you can see the Spectre's blue webs. You want to glide past this landing and then glide behind it. Hit the wind plume on the far side of the area while turning left, and you'll enter a secret area where you can land on a small platform. Kill the elite inside and loot the ring on the corpse. When equipped, your relic use causes you to sacrifice 15% of your max health, but grants a shield for 10% of the wearer's max health to allies within 8 meters. Conversions can't kill the wearer, and the effect lasts for 15 seconds. Also in the Withered Necropolis is the material needed to unlock the new Warden archetype. We do have a full video on our channel walking you through every aspect of that secret, including a breakdown of the class, so go watch that if you'd like, but for this video, we're going to speedrun it. Grab the glider shortly past the Gardener and then start descending. Drop down if you need to and just follow the canyon past the platforms on both the left and right side. We want to keep heading down until we reach the other side of the canyon. Once you're out in the open, hit the wind plume and start heading to the right. You'll snake your way along the outside of the cliff, which should be on your right. Keep going, hitting the plumes on your way until you can safely land on this small platform. From there, you'll want to head left through the opening. Follow the bridge, killing the elite that blocks your path. Once it's out of the way, you can move across the bridge into the room at the end. There, suspended in a strange alien beam, you can pick up the weathered mechanism material. With your item in hand, head back to Ward 13 and make your way up the steps until you reach Wallace. There, you can turn the item into the Warden's Engram command module. If we run back that same path, we can actually reach another secret, currently the most elusive in the entire game. Take the glider just past the Gardener NPC. We'll want to reach the bottom of the canyon just like we did before, but this time, we'll hit the wind plume at the base of the canyon and then turn right until we hit the second wind plume. When we hit that second one, turn around 180 degrees and start heading the opposite direction. You're aiming for the right side of this cliff and keep your eyes peeled for a landing. If you did everything right, you should have enough elevation to land. Inside the singular room on the landing is a strange puzzle, one that is still perplexing players to this day. At the moment, the real solution is unknown, but a temporary one often works. Observe the top code in the puzzle. Roll your system clock back 1 hour. Reload your game and make your way back to the puzzle. Input the code from the hour before that was on the top into the bottom. This doesn't always work depending on your time zone and the actual time, but most of the time it will. Inside the now unlocked chamber is a new bow weapon, Genesis. This weapon has 150 base damage, a 10% crit hit chance, plus 115% weak spot damage, and 5% stagger modifier. This weapon also has the baked-in mod Mega Drive. You can activate this while a valid target is in sights, marking it with Quantum Entanglement. All projectiles from the weapon seek to the entanglement target after the initial impact, dealing 50% of the primary fire damage as a secondary attack. This bow is truly nuts, and while the real solution isn't known quite yet, you can still pick it up with a bit of luck and system manipulation. Spread across both the Agronomy Sector and the Withered Necropolis are a few joint secrets, and they deserve their own section because they're more involved than simply running from point A to B. The first secret is for Spark, the friendly robot you'll most likely meet in the first overworld. Her quest ultimately sends you on a crazy scavenger hunt across all 3 planets, and since we've already released a dedicated video for that secret, I'm going to refer you to that. It's easily the most insane grind in all of Remnant 2, so be warned before you dive in. Now, one of the best secrets in the Dark Horizon has to be the prototype. This is a disassembled robot that you have to piece back together one bit at a time, and there's an extra twist at the end that, in true Remnant fashion, is the difference between a battle and a reward. There are 2 pieces of the prototype in the Agronomy Sector. The head can be found right after you crash land your train shortly after starting the storyline. The prototype arm can be found by hugging the right side of the map and gliding across the entire top section of the Agronomy Sector. Eventually, you'll reach a platform where you'll notice some blue webs. Kill the Spectre guarding this area and the webs will despawn, allowing you to pick up the prototype arm. The final 2 pieces of the prototype are in the Withered Necropolis. The prototype claw can be found at the far left end of the broken bridge. Use the glider overlooking the bridge and glide down anywhere onto the bridge. Defeat any enemies that get in your way and reach the far left side. There, right at the edge, is the prototype claw. The final piece we need is the prototype memory core. To get this, we'll want to hop on the glider just past the Gardener. Descend as if we were heading for the Warden unlock, and once you leave the canyon, hit the wind plume and then head left. You should have enough altitude to reach a small landing. Head inside, defeating any enemies that get in your way, and you can loot the prototype memory core. The prototype itself is actually found back in the Agronomy Sector. To reach the workshop, you'll need to glide down to this landing here. It's actually the lowest point in the entire zone, sitting just above the purple slime, so it should be relatively easy to find. However, before you go in, there's something you need to know. Completing the robot and inserting the memory core as is in its orange state will turn the neutral robot into an aberration called Bot. This is an elite version of the new multi-armed robot enemy you fight across the entire DLC, but killing this aberration actually nets you 2 new items. First is the Shield Alternator Ring. When equipped, activating a mod that costs 100 mod power or greater generates a shield for 20% of your max health. This lasts for 15 seconds and can't stack with itself. Killing Bot also rewards you with the Charged Wounds Mutator. When equipped in a ranged weapon, this increases the weapon's fire rate and reload speed by 2.5% per overloaded entity within 15 meters, stacking 5 times. At level 10, this weapon's range weak spots and range critical hits apply overloaded, dealing 75 shock damage over 10 seconds. Before you insert the prototype memory core, if you inspect the item, you'll notice there is an interactable button. This turns the memory core blue, and as we know, blue means friend in the gaming universe. Rebuilding the prototype with the blue core rewards you with the Spirit Alternator Ring. When equipped, incoming shields grant 150% of the shield generated as mod power. There's one more joint secret tied to both overworlds. For this to work, we first need to cleanse 3 purple pylons that are found in 3 separate locations amongst the fields of alien corn. The first pylon you can get to shortly after the anterior recess world stone. Head outside and follow the right path, moving forward until you reach a glider spot. Hop on and drop straight down. Interact with the corrupted pylon to trigger the swarm. Defeat all the enemies and the pylon will cleanse and you can move on. The second corrupted pylon is actually on the far end of the Agronomy Sector, over by where you can enter the dungeon that grants access to the first diamond anchor of Alepsis-Taura. Start at the propagation field world stone. Hang an immediate left and work your way through the cornfield on your left. Continue across the large chasm with a glider and you'll see the pylon in the distance below the first diamond. The third corrupted pylon is located in the Withered Necropolis, and you'll want to follow the exact same path you took to unlock the Warden. Once you reach the platform, instead of taking a left to walk across the bridge, head down the ramp, and once you reach the bottom, turn right. Head up the hill, and the third and final corrupted pylon will be there. Once you cleanse all 3 locations, the quest will be complete, and you'll be rewarded with a new trait, Preservation. This increases the shield duration you receive by up to 30% at the trait's max level, plus 10. One of the most challenging new dungeons in the Dark Horizon is the Athenaeum Wek, which features a unique gauntlet as the final challenge. As you're completing the gauntlet, you can pick up a quest item called the House Wek Command Orb, which will temporarily be revealed as the elevator mechanism reveals the item's location. You can pick this item up regardless of what you want to do at the end of the dungeon, but now you have to make a choice. Once you reach the top of the gauntlet, you can slot the House Wek Command Orb. When you do that and start the final challenge in Aberration, the Netherbound Spectre will spawn. Unlike most aberrations, you'll need to contend with this alongside other enemies. Defeating the aberration will reward you with the Insulator Mutator. If you choose to activate the gauntlet without the House Wek Command Orb, you won't have to fight the aberration, and you'll just need to contend with a wave of enemies. Depending on which method you choose, the reward in the final room at the top will change. Using the Command Orb will have the Clear Halo Ring. When equipped, this generates a shield for 10% of your max health over 2 seconds after not being damaged for 10 seconds. Not using the Command Orb will instead spawn the Echo Chamber Amulet. This increases explosive damage by 10% and AoE size by 25%. Inflicting explosive damage also applies Exposed for 5 seconds, maxing out at 15 seconds. When a target is exposed, they receive 15% additional damage from all sources. The last secret to find in this dungeon is after the Gauntlet event. The elevator you use on the way down back from the Gauntlet's Coliseum actually has a false bottom. Dropping down into the pit and then following the path will eventually spit you out at a secret room. There you can pick up the Iron Rod crafting material. Take this back to McCabe in Ward 13 to gain access to a new mod, Shielding Shot. When active, this launches a payload that bursts on contact with allies or lays dormant for up to 30 seconds when shot to the ground. This will apply a shield for 25% of the player's max health for 15 seconds. New to the Dark Horizon is the Mucid Terrarium, another dungeon with one major secret to complete. This is technically an injectable, which you can find on various other maps, but again, we're approaching all of these secrets as if they're part of your one-shot. What you're looking for is an area with some disconnected live cables. These can be found in other parts of the DLC, but these specific cables are exposed and you'll notice some blue sparks. All you need to do is use an electric-based weapon like Enigma and energize the cables. Eventually you'll have access to a room where you can pick up the Combat Shield Generator. When equipped and while in combat, crouching or combat sliding generates a stationary 3 meter by 1.5 meter energy shield with 300 health, which blocks enemy projectiles. This lasts for 10 seconds or until the shield takes max damage. Energize another cable or two, and you'll have access to another room and the Short Circuit Amulet. While a shield is active, this increases critical chance and critical damage by 10%, while also reducing skill cooldown by 6% once every 5 seconds. Within the Stagnant Manufactory are a number of secrets worth talking about. The first is an Injectable where you have to stealthily make your way through a maze of cargo and robots, all looking to hunt you down. If at any point you're detected, you'll need to die to reset the event so you can try again. Now, if you manage to complete this stealth puzzle the first time without ever being seen by a robot, you'll actually be rewarded with 2 items upon completion of the maze. The first is the Bypass Primer, a ring that reloads your current firearm whenever you perfect dodge. The second reward, and the one specifically you get for clearing the maze on your first shot, is the Burden of the Protector ring. While equipped, this reduces incoming shield duration by 50%, but increases shield amount by 15%. If at any point you get caught during the maze, the second door blocking the Burden of the Protector ring will remain shut, and you'll need to re-roll your campaign or adventure mode to acquire it. However, you can still get the Bypass Primer simply by completing the maze. The one enemy you need to watch carefully patrols the back of the maze. He'll move from the exit door to about the center point of the maze. Once he reaches that central point, he'll face towards the right side, and you can beeline it straight down the middle of the labyrinth and reach the exit without any robots detecting you. In the main dungeon, there are also a number of secret items to find, as well as a trait. Stagnant Manufactory features a gas-filled gauntlet right at the end. The key to completing this is to break the canister that contains the toxic gas and move as quickly as you can to the next section until eventually you reach the control room. Doing that will reward you with the Perception trait, which increases haste and slow bonuses. At level 10, Perception increases plus 3% haste and plus 10% slow. However, along the way to the control room are a number of items you must get during the gauntlet, or risk having to run through the poison to get them after the fact, or reroll your adventure or campaign. When you're on the second floor, take the rightmost path. You'll climb up a ladder, and instead of jumping left at the top to reach safety, jump right and grab the transient cord. On relic use, this increases crit chance and crit damage by 10% for 15 seconds. The bonus is reduced by 1% every 1.5 seconds. Once you grab this ring, quickly continue through the gauntlet as the poison gas does spread quickly. At the very end of the dungeon, there is a vault-up point that takes you to the control room. Looking back out into the room you're about to leave, hug the wall on the left, and a short distance away you'll find an exposed path in the floor. Dodge roll through here to avoid the vomiting animation, and you'll make it to a safe area that overlooks that very same ledge. There you'll find the Exhaust Valve Amulet, which increases heat decay rate by 25%. Weapons that generate heat will also no longer overheat, but at max heat, fire rate is reduced by 20%. Once you've completed the dungeon and activated the panel, leave the dungeon and re-enter it. Head back into the beginning point of the gas chamber section, and through the glass you'll see a drone aberration patrolling the area. A doorway to the right will now be open. Head inside and fight with the aberration V-Sentinel-23, which will begin in this new chamber. Defeating it will reward you with the mutator Superheated. When the equipped weapon is above 25% heat, a 7.5 meter pulse will deal 150 explosive damage once every 5 seconds. At level 10 and at max heat, a 10 meter pulse will deal 300 explosive damage, which applies burning to all entities for 100 damage over 20 seconds. The Detritus Foundry has one of the most interesting secrets of the entire Dark Horizon DLC, mainly because one quest item can take you down 4 different paths. What I'm talking about is the crop sample, which is actually an injectable that can spawn within any N'Erud tower dungeon. Your first option is to take the crop sample down below where you found the item to a sort of greenhouse area. Before doing anything, pick up the Quantum Memory Amulet laying on the ground. When equipped, combat slides reload the currently equipped firearm, and perfect dodge combat slides reload both firearms. On either side of the room are 2 plots of soil, one red and one blue, and as you might expect, you'll get different results depending on what side you choose. Planting the crop sample on the red side will eventually cause the inverted shambler aberration to spawn. You will have to travel back to this location later on in your playthrough to see the fruits of your labor, as the effect isn't instant. Once you defeat the aberration, you'll receive the Repercussions Mutator. When equipped, each enemy hit by primary fire grants 1 stack of Repercussion, increasing range damage by 3% per stack, maxing out at 5 stacks. Each shot also consumes a stack. At level 10, the Mutator also increases the weapon's critical chance by 3% per stack of repercussion. If you opt to plant the crop sample on the blue side, eventually it will blossom into a relic, the Gossamer Heart. This will increase your innate evade window frame by 1, and on use, it increases the evade window bonus frames by an additional 2 for 15 seconds. Option 3 is a bit more involved. Once you have the crop sample, we'll also need to scoop up another item, Namwe's Blood-Marred Vow, which is part of the Awakened King storyline, but only if you talk to the Root Emissary from the Forgotten Kingdom DLC and submit it to the Root's will. It's a whole interconnected secret, y'all. What else do you expect from Gunfire? Now here's the good news. Once you have the crop sample in your one-shot, bring it back to Ward 13. Over in the garden area, you'll notice an interactable root plant. Talk to it and give it the crop sample if you want to complete this secret. You'll then need to bring it the Blood-Marred Vow, which you can only do in the Awakened King storyline, by sparing Namwe and killing the one true king while you have Namwe's Vow in your inventory. Bringing that item back to the root plant offering will reward you with the Cessation Bulbul Amulet. When equipped, activating a mod consumes all of your current shield. For every 20 shield consumed, it increases all of the damage you deal by 4% for 10 seconds, maxing out at 10 stacks. That is a 40% increase to damage. This thing is nuts if you know how to use it. Your fourth option is to give the crop sample to Dwayne the cook in Ward 13. Luckily, you don't have to wait long for him to turn this into a new concoction. Just give him a beat, then talk to him again and you'll receive Numbing Agent. This increases the hits that you can take before losing gray health by 1. Like other concoctions, this lasts for 60 minutes. If you manage to make all of Dwayne's concoctions, the meat shake, egg drink, and now Numbing Agent, you can talk to Dwayne shortly after he finishes the Numbing Agent and he'll reward you with the Chef's Medal, a new amulet. When equipped, this thing automatically triggers the effects that require relic use to activate when you perfect dodge. The Logistics Bridge has to be one of our favorite new dungeons in the game. It features a Frogger-like component that's perfect for hiding a few awesome secrets. At the fourth train gap, you'll notice a ledge down and to the right. Time your jump right and you can access a hidden passageway and the Brazen Amalgam Amulet. This increases crit chance by 1.5% and movement speed while aiming by 2.5% per second, maxing out at 10 stacks. Midway through the dungeon, you'll also have to fight the Void Amalgamate Aberration. Killing it will net you the House Regal Glyph, used to unlock the rest of the dungeon, and the Hypercharger Mutator. This increases charged melee stamina cost by 65% and charged melee damage by 25%. At level 10, after a charged melee strike, it increases stamina recovery rate by 100% for 3 seconds. Work your way through the dungeon until you get to the control room at the center of the area. Head upstairs and activate the panel to make the last set of trains blocking your way start moving. Head back to the entrance of the room and look out towards the control tower once again. On the left side, you'll see an area that looks like there is a ledge you can jump to. Destroy the canisters blocking your jump path and jump across to pick up the Siphon Filter Ring. When equipped, this increases all damage dealt by an equal amount to an active haste bonus. It also grants haste when within 15 meters of an entity suffering from slow. On the right side of this area, you'll see a section where you can break a few environmental items, allowing you to vault over some canisters. Follow this path to the very back of the dungeon, and you'll find the second unique armor set in the DLC, the Fader Armor. This is a heavy set that has great defense, average resistances, and above average light resistance. At the very end of the dungeon, upstairs you'll find one last ring on the console overlooking the dungeon, the Burden of the Excavator. When equipped, explosions cannot critically hit, but explosive damage is increased by 35%. If you're playing the Dark Horizon, all roads lead to Alepsis-Taura, the storyline's main boss. If you want to kill the boss the standard way, make sure to interact with and destroy at least one of the diamond-shaped pylons you run into at the end of 2 of the dungeons. This isn't required to fight the boss, but it will activate his standard encounter. Defeating Alepsis-Taura this way will reward you with the Black Mass material, which you can craft into the Dark Matter Gauntlets, one of my favorite melee weapons in the game. These are incredibly fast, and once empowered, can even turn your melee attacks into ranged attacks, so definitely pick them up. If you opt not to interact with and attack the diamond-shaped pylons, you can fight the boss's alternate form, which really isn't much different. Defeating Alepsis-Taura will reward you with the Eternity Chamber material, which you can craft into the Monorip, a wickedly powerful long-range energy rifle that has a unique overheat mechanic that's worth building around if you're looking to do insane single-shot damage. Defeating Alepsis-Taura's alternate form will also reward you with the Insight trait, which grants mod power per second, maxing out at 10 mod power per second at level 10. Finally, if you head all the way back to the Devoid Quietus, the first World Stone in the Dark Horizon, you can head to the section right before you got on the train and pick up the Disaster Converter Ring. When equipped, if your health drops below 25%, you'll gain a shield for 50% of the total current gray health for 10 seconds, maxing out at 50%. So there you have it, every new secret in the Dark Horizon DLC. We hope you guys are having a great time with the new content, and as always, if you have any questions, leave us a comment down below, and don't forget to drop a like and subscribe. My name is Kodiak, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks for watching, and play on.